Hi, today I'm going to talk about why music is important to individuals and to society. So I'm going to start out with a quote from Music and How It Impacts Your Brain and Emotions by Malini Mahana that we read in class. The quote is, "Music is a common phenomenon that crosses all borders of nationality, race, and culture." So the origins of music. There are two theories about the origins of music. One is that it's adaptational, and the other is that it's non adaptational. So, the adaptational theory is based on the fact that music is complex, and only things that are complex can be adaptable. So, the reproductive theory that goes along with this is that music was used to attract mates and enhance reproductive success in early years, and that also music influences survival benefits because it nurtures social bonds, emotional conjoinment, and coordinates movement. The social bond aspect of that is related to primates and their grooming rituals, which was a social activity for them. But once their groups started to grow and become too large, it was no longer a social experience that was efficient for them. So they began vocalizing, and language became more prominent, and it allowed them to socialize with multiple individuals at the same time. The non adaptational aspect of this theory is exaptation, which is when new uses are made of parts that were adapted for other functions. So basically, an old structure that has a new use to it. It's also possible that music is an exaptation of previously adapted traits. So, music has a lot of features in it that have parallels to other domains, which supports this idea. And it's believed that some adaptations of music may have came about because their function was no longer useful in whatever domain it was in previously. So, next we're going to talk about how music affects society. Have you ever asked yourself, how does music affect my daily life? 7.53 billion is the number of people in the world that music affects in one way or another every single day. So we're going to talk about music and advertisement and how that has an effect on society. So first I'm going to start with shopping and stores. So stores actually play music that will make you stay in their store longer, leading you to spend more money than what you may have originally intended. Restaurants also play music, but it's to make it so people eat faster. So they play upbeat tempoed music to make people eat faster and get out of the restaurant quicker to make room for new people. And then commercials really use music for their advertisement, and they try to do catchy tunes that have simple melodies and repetitive rhythmic patterns. That way, when you hear the tune, or it'll get stuck in your head, and you'll always remember the company or product, and it might influence you to actually buy that product or use that company. And this is all related to the fact that music is very influential in our lives every single day. So next I'm going to talk about the social impact of music in society, and it's the one example I have is that the Young at Heart chorus. We watched the movie in class and learned about them, and it was a group of older adults who got together and they formed this choir, and they just did it for something to do, and they loved music, and then it's grown to this world-renowned choir that's auditioned, and they travel the world and put on shows for people, and it's just incredible the impact that it has had on their lives. It creates social bonds between people that may never have been brought together in any other aspect of their life. Music is very influential when dealing with tragedy. We watched a video in the beginning of the semester of Congress standing on the steps of the Capitol building, and they were all singing God Bless America, and it was right after 9/11 had happened. And the idea that music can create a sense of unity in times where people need it the most is why it's so impactful during times of tragedy. Music as a healing method, either music as therapy or music therapy, is very influential in society and is increasingly becoming more influential as music therapy is more well known. The therapeutic techniques used in music therapy depend on the client and the diagnosis, and music therapy is only administered by a board-certified music therapist who is working on goals and objectives with their clients in a therapeutic clinical relationship. The difference between music therapy and music as therapy. Music as therapy is more receptive, so it's recorded or live music to achieve a desired outcome, but the individual is not actually making the music themselves. It's more likely that they're listening to it and it's making them feel a certain way, such as calming on a stressful day. And music therapy is active participation in music, which is the creative participation by the client. This can either be individually or by a group, but for it to be music therapy, it has to be led by a music therapist. So let's talk about, why does music matter? So there are 10 reasons that were outlined in our textbook that I thought really helped explain why music matters in our lives. So music is ubiquitous, which means that it's found everywhere and it's so easily accessible to everyone. 2, that it's emotional. So the acoustic qualities of music interact with your emotions and affect how you feel. It's engaging, so playing an instrument equals mental and physical processing and neural activity that is going on as you're playing. Music is distracting, so it draws your mind away from any negative experiences that may be going on in your life. Music is physical, so the actual act of playing is physical. It's doing a series of movement until the song or work is over. It's ambiguous, so you can interpret musical experiences very personally. It's also social, so it can either be isolation or socially music can be. And it's not typically geared toward one individual, but more likely a large group. So music is also communicative, so emotions are strongly associated with music and sometimes help people express in music what they can't in words. Music is also manipulative, so such as what I talked about with malls using music or stores using music to make people spend more money. This is what this is, and it's just basically that music affects your behavior. And the last one is music is personal, so music helps you connect to a sense of self, and it also helps with teens who are trying to define their identity, and it connects teens with friends, but also allowing them to be themselves. And then music is flexible, so it's for whatever use you would like it to be. So why is music important to me? Music helps me when I'm stressed. Anytime I'm stressed out, I just go sit in the practice room and I play the piano or I sing, and it makes me feel so much better. And this is because the dopamine levels in your brain are raised when you're listening to music or participating in a musical experience. Music has an effect on others, and touching the lives of others with the music that I make is the most rewarding process for me. And then social connections and social bonds. So I've been in choir my entire life, so I have so many friends that came through choir and through every musical experience that I've ever had. And this relates back to like the primates and their social bonds and how that affected things. And then my last thing is music therapy, and how using music to help others reach their goals is very inspiring to me. And it can just be used in so many different populations for many different outcomes, and that just, I love the way that music can just be used for whatever you need it to be used for, especially in a therapeutic content. So music truly allows me to share my creative freedom with others. Thank you so much.